Good morning, everybody. So, what happened yesterday? So, I left Grand Tetons on my way back for Eagle, Colorado. Don't really think too much of where I'm going or what. Just put the address in and send it through Google Maps, and we get to driving. And this is kind of everybody's story, too. There's like three other people that were coming from uh, Jackson Hole, Grand Tetons area. But anyway, so we all put our address in. We're all headed to our prospective locations, and once we get down to this one little city in Wyoming, uh, I forget the name off the top of my head. It's like Rock Springs or something. Signs start reading, or it's these red flashing lights, and they read for local traffic only. Well, I don't really know what that means, but anyways, we all said the same thing. Well, I guess we live in Colorado. We're locals. I don't know what that means, but we go for it. The entire time that we were making this trip from Wyoming into Colorado, there's very light traffic, but there's nothing really demonstrously dangerous about what's going on. There's some high winds, which I can understand for like trailers and stuff. It probably could have caused a problem, but there's nothing that would have or was screaming alarm in my head. And same thing with everybody else that ended up doing that same trip. So once you get into that northwestern entrance to Colorado, it's dirt road for like, I want to say maybe 15 miles or so. And I mean, it's a wide dirt road. It's like 2.5 lanes. Like it's super big. When I was driving through it at night, I was like, I am about to get murdered. This is very, very sketch because at night can't see anything. You're driving in a canyon that's on a dirt road, and you're driving for 15 miles or so. So it was super weird. But anyways, so coming back at daytime was a lot more comforting. Once we get onto the highway, I start seeing some like snowdrifts and stuff, and like I'm smart enough to like not press certain things by myself, and that was kind of one of those situations. So I'm kind of running low on fuel at that point. I've got maybe a 180-mile range. I've got the direction I'm supposed to be going. I've got maybe I think it was like 20 more miles or something. And if I turned around and went back to Rock Springs, that was going to be like 75 miles. So, I mean, I still had gas to do either or. But, so I'm looking at this road that has some snowdrifts on it. And, I mean, some of them are like up to 2 feet, 2 feet deep, and just like super, super fine, loose powder. And since I'm by myself, I'm running quasi low on fuel. I make the decision to turn around and head back to Rock Springs. So I start driving back, and I see this Jeep just barrel off the road, and like he hit one of the snowbanks, and he kind of lost control and drove up on the shoulder. So I pull up next to him, and we're talking, and I told him, I almost did the same thing because I thought it was kind of ice, which is not necessarily that big of a deal, but we were both kind of laughing about that, and we're discussing which route we're going, and he's going the same direction I am. And I said, well, it looks kind of weird. The roads, got a bunch of these snowbanks and stuff. I was like, I'm not going to do it by myself because I can't afford to get stuck in the middle of nowhere. It's just bad tactics to do stuff like that by yourself. So, anyways, we come to the conclusion, all right, if he's going to go for it, then I'm going to go with him, and we'll get through it together. So we start driving down this road, and there's snowbank after snowbank and snowbank after snowbank, and we're just driving along. And I think after about like 8 miles or so, we start running into some vehicles. Some vehicles are just kind of stuck on the road, and it's really weird because I mean it's like most of the road condition. It seems like it was open, and there were these little pockets here and there of snowdrift going across the road. So we start passing vehicle after vehicle, and nobody's in there. You know, I guess they had already gotten picked up. And again, Google Maps says the road's fine, the road's open, that's the direction we're supposed to be going. So passing vehicle after vehicle, and then we start passing semis like in the shoulder, and the snowdrift is getting deeper to the point where it's it's probably like a 3-inch lift on a Jeep Grand Cherokee or Jeep Cherokee with, I think he had like 35s or something. So he's quite a bit lifted more than I am in a stock Subaru Outback Wilderness. But again, I have it in my head. If he can do it, I can do it. So he gets going, and we start getting into some deeper snowbanks to the point where he'll start driving again, get stuck, and he has to back out and, you know, ram it a couple times, and then he gets through. And with, you know, him rutting up the road, I'm actually able to just kind of float right behind him fairly easily. So this goes on for another 3 or 4 miles until we get to a point where there's a Ford F-150 that's stuck in a snowdrift. He's probably about 3 feet deep stuck into it. The F-150 has a trailer on it, so he can't really back up. Forward is his only choice. It's 2 guys. They have a hockey stick and a 5-gallon bucket. No shovels. Very fortunately, just before coming to Colorado, I did buy a shovel, and luckily the guy in the Jeep, he had some digging equipment also. So we get out, we're talking with these guys. After 2 seconds, we're just like kind of laughing, joking. We're all headed to the same place. Quickly, it's just like, well, I mean, let's dig you out. We'll get the Jeep in the front, and then we'll just keep pressing on the road, because again, it's little intermittent patches of snowdrift. So as we're digging, and it's like I said, it's like 3 feet deep, and we're having to dig, I want to say maybe 20 to 30 feet forward. While we're digging, more and more cars are pulling up behind us, and luckily it's all super cool people, and people that are, again, quasi prepared. You know, they have avalanche shovels, which is better than nothing. But anyways, they all jump into action. So I mean, we're all just laughing, having a good time. I'm trying to make jokes and, you know, direct people like, oh, we're all gonna get a hotel after this, or we're all gonna, you know, get an apartment together. This is so great. The joke from King Kong just keeps going in my head, like, you're a good group of guys. We're all gonna die out here together. You're all a good group of guys to die with. So again, I'm just kind of cracking jokes, and we're all just like talking. Oh, so where are you from? Where are you going? And it's a good time. It's really freaking cold outside. It's probably, I want to say, anywhere from like 5 to 0, but the wind is what was really kind of beating us all up. It was a constant, I want to say 15 to 20 mile an hour wind. I mean, it's just blowing sideways. Like, not one piece of snow fell on us from overhead. It was all just blowing across the road. And it was just a super, super fine, super small, like, it just almost infinitesimal, you know, I mean, just microscopic snow. Just powder-like. But anyway, so we get through the first snowdrift. Jeep starts leading the way. I want to say, sorry, my throat's still messed up from yesterday. So we get maybe another 3 miles, and then we get to a point where the snow is, I want to say, like 3.5 to 4 feet. There's 2 trucks that are parked up in like the middle of the road, but there's not one drop of snow under these trucks. So it's like, when the hell did they stop? And I mean, they're literally like right in the middle of the road. So then we're all talking, making conclusions, and like, well, it must have been a whiteout for them to have literally just stopped in the road. And it looks like there's well, like there's a it almost looked like it had just perfectly spaced, around all the vehicles. There was enough space to where the snow didn't build up, so we could see how deep it was. And this wasn't just 20 feet. This was like maybe 150 feet that we would have to dig. That was maybe 3 or 4 feet. And so again, we're trying to come up with a plan of action. We're trying to stick to it. At this point, there are, well, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There's 8 people with us, and so everybody busts out the shovels. The Jeep pulls out his winch. We start winching off one vehicle in front. The Jeep is kind of plowing through the snow, and we're digging behind the Jeep to try and clear a path be easy enough for some of the other vehicles to get through. Like, I'm in a Subaru. There's another guy in like a Mazda 3. There's another guy in a rented Nissan 2-wheel drive car. There's another F-150. There's the Jeep that was initially with us. There's the F-150 with the trailer. There's another, I think it's like a Toyota, but it's 4x4 or something. We've got a little train going. And so we get past the 150 feet. We get up to the point where we're behind a dually and like a city truck that are, again, just parked in the middle of the road. We're coming up with a plan of action, and I'm like, well, before we can do this, let's start kind of assessing all options, and let's really figure out what we've got going on. So I send the guy with the hockey stick to probe, see how deep it is. It's virtually impassable. And again, it's like a big snowdrift, and then up the road it's clear, and then there's another snowdrift, and then we can see probably 2 miles up the road. The road goes straight, and then it starts to kind of curve. So while some of us are digging and we're putting the winch line back into the Jeep, which is kind of leading the charge, I send 2 people up the road just to kind of scout, like, hey, just walk up to the road where the road starts to curve. It's maybe like a quarter mile. And again, the wind is still it's a constant 15 to 20 mile an hour wind. So I send the Jeep, or I send 2 people, or ask 2 people, I should say I send, but I ask them if will go up and just kind of scout the road ahead to see if it's even, if we dig through this thing, which is probably going to take us like 3 or 4 hours to, get through, are we going to be safe on the other side of that? Well, they finally come back and they say, no, it's impossible. From where the road starts to curve, it's 3 or 4 feet for like miles for everything that they could see. So that's when the conversation goes, okay, well, what's our next plan? Do we stay here? Do we turn around and go back? Do we camp in our vehicles, just wait for morning for the snow plows? But then what time are they going to get to us? Do we call 911 and see if they can just send a snowcat or something to pick us up? Because we could see some trucks, so we could tell, that they were picking people up. So 2 of the guys were not really like a part of our group, you know what I mean? So somebody calls 911 because they have cell signal, and the operator's like, what are you guys doing out there? Y'all shouldn't be on that road. That road is closed. And like, we all didn't see any road closure signs. We just saw local traffic only. There were no police blocking the roads. There were no barricades. There was nothing. And literally there's 9 of us. Like, we all made it to that point, and it didn't really look, like I said, super, super bad. So 911's like, you guys just stay put. We've got a snowcat, search and rescue. They're going to come pick you guys up. It's probably going to be like 40 minutes. It's like, all right, that's not that bad. Well, as soon as 2 of the guys hear that, when the first guy that called 911 just hangs up and says, okay, they're coming. Hangs up on the lady, like the operator's still talking, and just hangs up on her. So these 2 guys decide they don't want any part of search and rescue. They're just going to turn around, drive all the way back to Rock Springs. And again, I'm trying to keep everybody together because you have safety in numbers. We know right now where we are currently at, we would be safe easily for the next 24 hours. We can see a town that's like 2 miles up the road. We all have enough fuel and safety supplies, warm gear. We can stay warm in our vehicles. We can run them through the night if we had to. But everything was okay. So I'm trying to keep everybody together. These two guys just, nope, we're going back to Rock Springs. At least there's a hotel, blah, blah, blah. There's, we're going to turn around and go back. The biggest fear that I think 3 or 4 of us were kind of discussing was the wind is just constantly blowing. So there's a very real chance that if we turn around, that everything that we dug through, which we ended up out there for like, I want to say 2 hours just getting through that first initial snowbank that the F-150 was stuck in. So like that video I recorded yesterday, I'm all out of breath. That we dug a little bit, and then we were going to let the F-150 try and plow as much as he could, and then we ended up digging some more, and we just kept doing that little process the entire time. So F-150 and this Nissan turn around, bug out. They just, again, they weren't really like part of the core group. So again, we're discussing our options. Like, I think I kept trying to say, no, let's stay here, stay together. If all else, we'll be here for the night. There's a little town, like I said, we can see it's just 2 miles up the road. I was like, I'll freaking walk over there and get somebody if we need to. But we end up coming to the conclusion we're going to stay at the vehicles. The girl in front of me, she's got a Garmin InReach, just like I do. It's a GPS satellite tracker. So even if we didn't have cell signal, we can still text message or send a search and rescue beacon. So where we were at, we currently had cell signal. So she gets in contact with 911. The operator explains the situation. Hey, I was on the phone, or I'm a part of that group with the guy that hung up on you. And the 911 operator is pissed. Not at us, but because the other 2 guys left. She had told them at this point they know that the road is closed or supposed to be closed, and that they left or drove on it. I guess it's a big deal. It's like a $750 fine if they get caught. And well, anyway, so like I said, we decided to stay there. The Jeep was kind of the last one to leave, but he left on like super cool terms. It wasn't like the other 2 guys that just like, nope, we're turning around, we're gone. He hung around for a while, made sure everything was good. We made sure he was good. We exchanged phone numbers so he could text me and let me know that he made it home safe. So they turn around, or the Jeep turns around, he heads back. And what happened from there? So we all just wait in our vehicles. We can see a snowcat coming up the road, or I see some headlights on the road, and I tell the girl, Brooke, that's ahead of me, I'm like, hey, just turn your hazard lights on, just so they can see us. Because, we can see, like I said, all the way down to that town. So I see the lights coming up the road, way off in the distance. I'm like, just turn your hazard lights on and they'll know we're here. So we're just sitting in our vehicles waiting, we're talking, and anyways, Snowcat pulls up and just like, hey, are you guys all right? Did y'all need to be picked up? And like, yeah, the road was open. Google said it was open. So this is a Snowcat. It's just a cab for 3 people, and it's an open bed in the back. Apparently it wasn't search and rescue. It was just some gentlemen that lived in that town that we could see. They saw the flashing lights. They came to pick us up. So we all loaded up on the Snowcats. And we just figured they're going to take us to a high school gym, something like that. A fire department, just sleep on a cot. And in the morning, we'll figure everything out. So they start taking us back. And then we get it to the point where we meet with search and rescue. They've got a bed over the cab, or they have a cab over the bed. So we all pile into the search and rescue. Snowcat takes us out to one of the local sheriff's offices, which ends up being, I want to say, maybe another like 6 to 10 miles, and we were driving over 5 to 9 foot snowdrifts almost the entire time. So like what we couldn't see, or what they did see, was just the beginning of everything else that's going to have to be plowed out. So it takes us probably like 2 hours in the snowcat to get out of there, into the sheriff's office, and they're very welcoming. They have food, they have snacks, super super friendly, just amazing people. And they're like, all right, well, you guys warm up, eat some food, get some drink. Whenever y'all are ready, we'll run y'all to a hotel. There's a hotel that set up some rooms for all you guys, and we'll take you to the next city, and that's where you'll stay for the night. And then for the vehicles, they're gonna try to start plowing the roads as soon as the wind dies down. And they would send tow trucks in to. There were two options. They would either pick up tow trucks or send tow trucks to pick up our vehicles, bring them to us, or they would pick us up, take us back to the vehicles, and then we would just drive out from there. But it could be a couple hours. I mean, we don't know how long it's going to be. So this is the next morning. They're supposed to give us a little bit of an update, I guess, at 8 a.m. It's currently 7:05. So here in a little bit, I guess we're going to find out the fate of picking up our vehicles. But I wholeheartedly believe that we made the right decisions. And, you really can't panic in kind of situations like that. You got to keep a cool head. You have to have a plan of action. You have to stick to that plan of action. And also working together as a group was super, super important. I can imagine if somebody was doing that by themselves, it'd be beyond scary. You're driving past vehicles that have all been abandoned, or they were picked up by search and rescue sometime earlier. But it goes to proper planning, having all your equipment to be prepared to be stuck for 24 to 48 hours. But then once we started meeting up with all the people, it was crucial in working together, clear, concise communication, nobody panicking, nobody, oh my God, we're stuck, we're gonna die. Knee-jerk reactions are never good. I wholeheartedly believe that everything worked out properly in the way it was like in the best case scenario type of situation. But yeah, so here I am in a hotel room, and I don't know the name of the city, but just going to head down, talk to our liaison about what's going to happen with our vehicles, or I guess the current state of plowing, which, I mean, I don't know how they're going to plow that much. I feel like we might be here another night. And then they say the whole west side of Colorado is like this. So, I mean, I think I'm still probably 3 or 4 hours away from home. And Glenwood Springs, I heard that an 18-wheeler went off the road and blocking all traffic, and snowdrifts everywhere. So even if we get out of here, we get our vehicles, there's no telling again how far we're going to make it. But at least Brooke and I are going to the exact same city, so we'll stick together. The other guys, I think they're heading out towards Denver, so they're primarily going to be on 40, one of the highways that runs laterally through the state. So, yeah, anyways, that's what's going on. That was yesterday's search and rescue operation, and yeah, fun times. Colorado living. Ah!